What do you think is like important for people to know about your childhood that made you who you are today?
Growing up in Romania, obviously a different environment than here. As a tennis player, competitive tennis player in the juniors, so been traveling intensively since I was probably 11, 12 years old. Been training and practicing pretty much every day for tennis, so I've been used to that kind of lifestyle. Um, it's I've been very competitive from an early age, which is something I've enjoyed the whole time, and I continue to enjoy. And I think it kind of shaped me into the athlete and definitely the person I am today as well.
How many kids do you have?
I have two kids. I have two daughters. My older one is 5. My younger one is 3. Yeah.
How much of like your personality, as far as like that competitive side, which has made up so much of who you are, has gone into your parenthood and the way you raise your daughters?
Some. I would like for my kids to be competitive, so I try to bring them up in an environment that is competitive and encourages them to be competitive. Obviously, it depends quite a bit on them as well and their personalities and all that. But I think if you run them through the right situations and you expose them to the right things, I think they can develop that as well. And look, everybody's got different goals and different hobbies and things they enjoy doing in life. And yeah, I definitely enjoy sports, and I enjoy pretty much every sport. And I enjoy competing. I enjoy playing in tournaments, playing matches. And we'll see. I hope they will as well. But if they don't, that's fine by me as well, as long as they're pursuing something they really enjoy and they're making a career out of it.
Yeah. What makes a good competitor? Like, what have you learned in tennis that you think separates you from some of the other players?
You learn that it's not a sprint. It's a long marathon. Especially when you're younger as a junior, but even when you're younger in general in your career, you kind of live it day by day, and you get super excited when you win, and you put yourself down when you lose, and then you learn with time to understand it's a process. And yeah, as long as you do your best in every single match and tournament that you play, that's all you can really ask from yourself. So yeah, kind of don't get too high when things are going well, and definitely don't put yourself down, and don't get too low when things are not going well. It's all part of the career of a professional athlete, and yeah, hopefully you can stay at the top of the wave and ride as much as possible, because that's a lot of fun. But it goes in swings, and you just have to have a strong chin, let's say, and just go through it. Accept that you're gonna have to fight some adversity.
For the people that don't know about tennis, like how high, where was like the height of your career? Like, how could you describe where you ended your career in tennis?
I had a pretty successful college career. I was an All-American at the University of Oklahoma. I've played professional tennis for, I think it was about 4 or 5 years after college. I competed in the 2015 Tennis US Open. I've played Davis Cup for my native country, Romania. So I've enjoyed some good success over there. I've had some pretty tough injuries that was the reason I stopped. And then I had about a 2-year hiatus from professional sports, and then I discovered pickleball around 2017, and it was a nice thing to do again, because he gave me the chance to compete again. He gave me the chance to play a sport I really enjoy, and yeah, be able to make a living out of it. It's a lot of fun, at least for someone like me who enjoys competing a lot and playing a lot of tournaments.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
We see a lot of tennis players transitioning now. I mean, back in like 2020 when I first started, it seemed like it was just pickleball and then tennis, and then not as many people were converting to pickleball as they are now. But what do you see has been important to remember, or kind of like look back on, that you learned from tennis that could be applied to pickleball? So based on the feedback I got, people wanted a blended material. This is 60% cotton, 40% polyester. This is the front. You have a horseshoe on the front, and on the back side says painting lines, ball doesn't lie. Landed a new sponsorship with this drink brand. They are called Peak Life, and this is one of their products. This is the Nandica. Anyone that knows me knows that I don't drink coffee regularly. I'll get it like maybe once or twice a week, but I just never really got into the habit. I like coffee. I love the taste of it. Always kind of get scared of the jitters a little bit. So this company called Peak Life reached out to me, and what they do is they have these, like, I guess I call them coffee alternatives. This is called adaptogenic coffee alternative. This is by Peak Life. This is the Nandica. So this has heritage cacao, functional mushrooms, and they call it a probiotic tea. It's organic, non-GMO, it's gluten-free. This has been a great alternative to coffee. I don't crash when I drink these. What I want to do is the first 20 people that order my shirt, I will ship out this sample pack with each order. So you will get one in each order, and just let me know what you think. The first 20 people that order the merch shirt, you will get a sample pack of that. And in order to purchase this, email me at buildingpickleball@gmail.com. For some reason, Instagram is not reliable. If I don't follow you and you message me and they have that like invite sent, those don't always go through. So just shoot me an email, buildingpickleball@gmail.com. I take PayPal, Venmo, and then I ship it out and usually get it within a week.
There's obviously a lot of similarities. I think you learn a lot from your tennis career. Whether it's the way you take care of your body between tournaments, whether it's the mental aspects of it, the ups and downs of a career, whether it's how you prepare for certain matches and situations. You learn to kind of create a system and become part of that system as you go through the process. And I think that's very helpful when you make the switch into pickleball. In terms of tennis players converting to pickleball, I think that's always been the case. I just think pickleball these days it's a lot more under the camera lights, and I think there's so many more eyeballs on it. So I think everybody who's coming over now, it's being recognized and everybody knows about it and that kind of stuff. So pickleball is getting a lot more attention than it was, let's say, 5, 6, 7 years ago. But I think there's always been athletes gravitating from different sports. I think that is one of the beauties of pickleball. There's people with, the majority for sure come from tennis, but you do have guys that are coming from baseball, right? Hockey, quite a bit of ping pong background as well. So I think that's what makes pickleball a lot of fun. That it kind of brings all these different athletic backgrounds together into the professional tour, and you get to see all sorts of different perspectives from all these players, and I find that super interesting.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that you hear that the most about like what people love about pickleball, especially from prior athletes, is they talk about that second chance. Right?
Yeah.
Like the guy, I think his name is Mark, the guy, the head of sales for
Yeah.
Proton.
Yeah.
He was coaching lacrosse and football, and that was like two of his primary sports. And along with his son, he was talking about like that was a second chance for me. And then like me, I came from jiu-jitsu and MMA, and that's also like a second chance. It's like a ton less injuries. I don't have to get punched in the face.
Yeah.
But you get the competitive side, and you also get to meet. I think like the social aspect is also really, really big.
100%, and the different perspectives as well.
Yeah.
Like you said, a guy like you that comes from from UFC and jiu-jitsu has maybe a different perspective than somebody that comes from baseball, and that's probably different than somebody who comes from hockey and somebody who comes from tennis. So I think you get to learn something new from all these players, which is quite interesting.
Yeah. Do you think it's interesting that like pickleball is still very competitive, but it's also very inclusive and welcoming? Because when I talked to Tyra Black, who's the player on the Dallas Flash, she was very similar in your regard in her background and resume. She came up through tennis. She just mentioned how competitive it was and how like not inclusive and like not even just competitive on the court, but how people treated each other. She didn't really enjoy that aspect. Did you see that in your career at all?
Yes, I did see it with tennis for sure. I think you see it with other sports, and I think to a certain degree you're starting to see it with pickleball as well. I think everything that becomes really, really competitive, it's kind of head that way, unfortunately. That's just the human nature. But I think a lot of the athletes at the top of the game in pickleball these days have had a previous athletic career in some of the other sports, and they recognize that, and I think that's what's helping preserve that culture of being friends off the court and respecting each other off the court and having a good time in that players lounge. And then when you're on the court, you're there to do the job of winning, and you're gonna do the best to get that done. But yeah, I would agree with Tyra that it's a lot more inclusive. There's a lot more respect. There's a pretty good, relaxed vibe, when you're around other players, and that's sometimes with some of the other sports as well. But I could see what she was talking about. Things being just so competitive with tennis, and yeah, sometimes the competitiveness takes the better of people, and yeah, it gets a little tricky. But I think pickleball is definitely not at that spot culture-wise, and I hope it doesn't get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to have guys like you who are like role models in the sport, and I think role models typically get associated with people who win a lot. So, like, for you to be winning as much as you do, and like,
hopefully I'll continue that. Yeah, it's not the easiest thing in the world. Yeah, but
no, dude, you have a family too.
Yeah.
And you're not like a spring chicken, right? Like, how old are you?
36. Yeah, 36. But I still move like a spring chicken.
Yeah.
No, but obviously there's a lot of really good players out there, and it's super competitive. So, yeah, every single victory it's a really important step forward, and hopefully I'll be able to continue to do that. Yeah.
It's awesome, man. It's like you're not only just a role model for people who want to come into the sport or who might be interested in becoming a rising pro, but also creating a blueprint for how to beat the #1 men's team. And like, how did that feel when you first did it with Gabe, right? First. Yeah.
It felt great. Look, obviously they've had such a great run, and look, they've dominated the game for years now, which, like I said, it's incredibly hard to do because all these guys are, up and coming. They all train very hard. They're all very good. They all compete very hard. So, for us to be able to, to win that match and the next one as well, I think it's, it speaks volumes to the amount of training that we put, the amount of trust we had in each other as partners, to how well we gel as a team. Gabe lives about 15 minutes away from me, so we used to train a lot together, get a lot of reps in. And we figured, why don't we give it a go and play some together? And obviously, it worked out pretty well for both of us. I think his game has skyrocketed. I think I've been playing pretty well as well recently. And it was good to see all these things coming together and give us that, some of those really good wins at the top and establish us as one of the top teams in the world.
What was y'all's game plan going into the match against them, or even twice or like three times now?
Yeah, we studied a lot of tape, and we had certain things that we knew. If you execute well on, we'll be able to get the job done. And look, at pickleball is a game of execution and of runs, and we were able to make some good runs to start the games, and open up some pretty good leads. And they're great competitors, and they fought us hard back, and we had some good battles. But it's important for us to continue to stick with the game plan, believe in it, and believe in our abilities. And look, we know we belong with the best. We've proved that, and I think we're going to be there very soon again.
What do you think is attributed to your recent success? Not that you weren't successful prior. I think it's just become more in the limelight. It might be because APP's broadcasting and media maybe isn't as like common or ubiquitous as PPA and how all that goes, but like you're making tons of runs in APP, getting gold medals, and you're doing it great, not even just in men's but also in mixed. So you're doing it there, and then once you got into that PPA, and then you had your runs with MLP, like you've shown a lot of success there. It might be just in the past 2 years. Like, what do you attribute to that?
I really think it's just part of the process. You put enough reps in, and you play enough matches, and your body continues to get better and faster and stronger, and reflexes are getting better. And it's hard to really attribute to one thing alone, but just believing in that process, sticking with it, going through the ups and downs, like I said, and just being able to kind of put it all together at the right time and make some runs. I've always try to compete as hard as I can, and I think one of the reasons is obviously Proton as well. I mean, I switched to this paddle last August. I've had a lot of success before that, obviously, like you said, in MLP and APP events, and then I've switched to this, and I feel like it's helped me elevate the game to the next level as well, and it allowed me to continue to get better, make some adjustments to my game. My body's obviously been healthy. I've been lucky in that regard, and hopefully I can continue to stay healthy and play some good pickleball for years to come.
Yeah. that's a great topic that I wanted to get into. It's a perfect segue.
Yeah.
You were previously with Selkirk. Selkirk is a much larger company, very established, and then people found out the news that you signed with Proton. What was that decision like? Why did you make that decision? And yeah.
So I spoke to Charles over the phone. He came and watched me at the MLP San Clemente before he even had paddles out. He was just thinking about the brand and how to enter the pickleball world. And then we communicated over the phone for a few weeks there. And he told me about the plans. He told me about the people he had involved. He told me about his background. And just in discussing more and more with him, I realized that his knowledge is very extensive. And we started talking paddles, and we started kind of working on coming up with the paddle, and he will send me paddles, and I'll send him back some feedback, and just how quickly he was able to apply that feedback to the paddles, and how quick that turnaround time was, and how well he did with all the feedback I provided to him. I really understood that this is a brand that's going to do very well in the pickleball world. It might take a little time. Like you said, Selkirk was very well established, but yeah, you can't build a whole empire in one day. I knew it's going to take a little time, but look, we're here about a year later, and we got some of the best players in the world here at the facility playing today. We have people trying the paddles. The technology is great. Players have had success with this paddle. We've been able to win some gold medals, whether it's the MLP, the PPA tour, the APP tour. I mean, it's proven that the brand is there, and if you talk to Charles and the rest of the company as well, you realize that they're still hungry for success, and there's still ways to go up. So it's still part of that process. I still think Proton is in the early phases, but you can see they're making some huge strides in the right direction, and it's only going to continue to get better.
It's great to hear you use the word process a lot, and like you're really speaking to what you were saying earlier about your mentality of it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, with everything, whether it's me as a player or whether it's with the brand, or with everything else. Like we had to go through a lot of different trial and error phases, with the paddle, and we feel like we're able to get a really good paddle out there. There's other players now playing with it. I was the first player to play with Proton. I was their first guy. But again, just going back and forth with them over development of the paddle, and they were just doing such a great job with everything I had to say to them. They were doing such a great job just kind of learning about the game of pickleball, about how the market operates and all that. And the success we're having 1 year in speaks to their dedication and hard work. And based on the signs I'm seeing, it's only going to get better. I mean, it looks like it's moving that way.
Yeah,
and I'm happy to be part of that process. Yeah,
helps to have some gold medals and some trophies behind it too.
For sure, and a good paddle for sure. Yeah, it wouldn't be possible without it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like, which one do you use, and what are your thoughts on? Was it the Series 3? Is the carbon fiber face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I use the Series 1 Type A. It comes in 11 millimeters and 15. I use the 11. No particular reason there. It's a square face as well. It comes square or elongated. I use a square face. I know the majority of players prefer the elongated one. For me, it's literally just personal preference. There's not a whole lot of science behind it. I take them out, I try them, and whatever feels the best in my hand is kind of what I go with. I feel it's got the right amount of pop. I'm not lacking any power, and it definitely has got a ton of spin, which helps a lot with the soft game and with flicks. So that's my paddle of choice. I've definitely tried the Series 3 as well. I've tried all of them. I tried the Series 2. Series 2, I think it's a very arm-friendly paddle that's great for intermediate players to advanced players, So there's a lot of people I see in like on the tour events that are winning gold medals, in like the 3-0 to 4-5 divisions. I think it's a great paddle. And then the Series 3 is the raw carbon face. I've played with that as well. It's got the elongated shape. Like I said, I prefer the square a little bit better, but that's still a great paddle. Some of our players are playing with it. CJ Klinger, who's coming off a great MLP in Washington D.C. He's playing with that one. He's had some great success. Yeah, the Walker sisters are playing with it, and they're having some good success with that. I know Donald just tried it a couple of times. I mean, so it's definitely a very good paddle as well. Different in terms of the texture. That's raw carbon fiber. This is nanotech. I do tend to like the nanotech. That distinct technology that he's using, and as long as I'm going to continue to have success with it, I'm going to stick with it. And yeah, and technology is always changing, so if needed at some point, I'll make some adjustments. I know there's a Series 4 coming as well. Yeah, so super excited to try it out.
Andrei Daescu signature paddle?
It's not the Andrei signature paddle. No, if you were to we've always went back and forth on this thing. I don't feel the need of having a signature paddle out there. If you had a signature paddle, this will definitely be it. Again, this is the one that we came up with, that we went back and forth on. This is the one that got us on the market, that players have tried out, and a lot of people have played with. It's the one that's been sold out for months now, and they're just having a tough time just catching up production. But it sounds like they're pretty much back to bringing their head up above the water again. So it's a paddle that's sold very well. It's a paddle a lot of people like, and this is the one that I would like to take some credit for.
Yeah.
No, but Series 4, I'm just looking forward. I know technology-wise, they always try to come up with something new, something innovative, something to change the market. And I look forward to trying it out. I haven't gotten a chance to try it out yet, but I look forward to trying it out, and hopefully it plays very nice.
Yeah, I appreciate that the Series 3 is something a little bit geared more towards the mass market and what's popular now.
Yeah.
But I want to use that one more, because I'm okay, this has the nanotech. No one else is using the nanotech. Also, the different shape. It's also very obnoxious color, so I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, when it comes to the colors, unfortunately, that's not my strong suit. So yeah, like I said, I play whatever feels good in my hand. So the colors is more up to them. But yeah, I do really enjoy playing with this paddle. And what I think it's important for people to understand is that it takes a little bit of time to break it in. But once you break it in, it's a weapon of choice. And like I said, if there is a paddle that I will take credit for, this is the one that one of the first paddles we came up with, and the ones that we worked on together. And yeah, just super excited to see the end result, because I think it's a great paddle.
Yeah.
Not just because I play with it, but I really think it's a really good paddle. And you see what all the people are trying, and you want to try. I mean,
I've been trying. It's very unique. I just haven't had enough time to go through the break-in process.
Yeah, it's about 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you'll see a little bit more pop, and I think he grabs a little bit better as well. So I think it's important to go through that phase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of credit, we can wrap this up, but I just want to give you a moment to kind of acknowledge, who do you think has been most important, or it could be multiple people, for where you are in your life right now?
Yeah, it's multiple people, and obviously it's my family. I have an incredibly supportive wife. I have 2 young kids at home, so I travel. I think last year I played about 36 events. This year I'm around 35, 36 as well. So I spend a lot of time on the road, away from home. So she has to hold the fort, take care of the kids for the most part. And without her support, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. Obviously, my parents, they've been extremely supportive as well. And my dad was a former professional athlete himself, who played basketball. So he's always been able to give me good advice as a kid, and then obviously good advice as an adult throughout my career as well, and how to deal with certain situations. And just he was able to lift me up when I needed some help. And so I think it's really important as a professional athlete to have some really good support from your family, and I'm very lucky and blessed to have that from my family.
Yeah, happy belated Father's Day, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah,
that's it, man. Anything else I didn't ask you about you want to talk about?
Let me think for a second. I don't know.
Yeah, take your time.
No, I think we're good.
Cool. Appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. Hope you got everything you needed there.
Yeah. Sorry.